so don't think I don't notice the crazy spike in views the night before every SAT date. I feel you guys, you're trying to calm your nerves and do some last minute prep. I've been there, and so this is my guide on what to do and what not to do the night before your test. If you're new here, my name's Anna. I scored a 1600 on my SAT a few years ago, and I've been sharing all the tips I have on this channel ever since then. First, I just want to say, if you're looking for something in the long term to help you with your prep, Preply is a great resource to consider. They've designed an app specifically for the digital SAT, with over 1,000 practice questions and explanations designed by SAT experts. I really like that they have different categories for the different types of SAT reading questions, because familiarizing yourselves with the types of SAT questions they ask is one of the most important things you can do to prepare. This app reminds me a lot of College Board's old SAT app that they've now discontinued, but I used it back in the day to help me prepare. And this app is a lot better because there's no limit to the amount of questions you can do per day, and they've gamified it. So if you're someone who likes competition, you'll definitely have a lot of motivation to practice. Best part is, all of their questions and explanations are accessible through your phone, so you don't have to carry around a bulky SAT prep book, and you can practice wherever and whenever you want to. No excuses to only be studying the night before your next SAT. And a subscription will cost you less than the average SAT test prep book, and you can cancel anytime. So if you're interested in a more laid-back way to prepare, check out the link in the description below and use the promo code ANNA to get 50% off your first month. It's probably the night before your SAT, and a lot of people at this point would just say, get a good night's sleep, eat a healthy breakfast beforehand, and be sure to just hydrate, take a break at this point so you don't get too nervous. I am going to recommend doing all of that, but I know that's not why you're here, and I think based on where you are in your preparation journey and just how you tend to be as a person can determine how you want to utilize this final night to your advantage. You know on average how much sleep you as a person need to function well, so please get that amount. It really sucks to be making careless, sleep-deprived mistakes on your test when you know the content. So it's important to know when to just call it for the night and go to bed. For me, I'm the type of person who would be too anxious to fall asleep earlier than I normally do, and I'll also probably get more anxious if I'm not preparing up until the last second, even if this last-minute prep isn't going to be super make or break. If you're the same way, I recommend just reviewing some of your past mistakes the night before your exam, and maybe taking like one section of a digital practice SAT that you've already taken before, maybe done pretty well on, but just want to make some last minute progress on, or make sure you don't forget everything randomly. Doing that might help boost your confidence and help you relax, because you know this. Also, feel free to watch SAT YouTube videos. I have a bunch on my channel. There are a ton of great resources out there, but please don't change up your entire strategy the night before. That's just going to cause more stress for you and probably lead to problems on your test if you haven't practiced that way already. So if you're like me, if you were pretty well prepared the night before your SAT but still pretty anxious, I'd recommend doing some easier, more laid-back prep that's pretty low stakes. If you know you're not prepared enough to get your goal score, and you're sure that you won't get too anxious trying to do this, I recommend finding the fastest possible way that you can improve and just focusing on a few of those questions. These will usually involve the grammar questions of the reading section, or some of the simpler concepts on the math section, like y equals mx plus b. Make sure you know the basics. If you've taken a past exam before, look back at those answer explanations they give you for the questions that you've gotten wrong in that section. If there's too many and it's overwhelming, just pick the category that you have the most mistakes in. The answer explanations might mention kind of complicated things like subject modifier placement, fancy terminology like that. You don't need to know what these are actually called for the test, you just need to be able to Google them and learn more. I recommend going to Khan Academy and working through one of these grammar categories that you're struggling with. Oh look, here's subject modifier placement. Watch their content, read their article on that, and grind through a few practice questions to get a sense for how this is showing up on the SAT. If you struggle more with just the non-grammar reading section questions, those are a bit harder to improve on last minute, but go watch my video on the SAT reading section. It might be able to give you some last minute advice on that. Please don't overwork yourself, and again, know when it's time for you to go to bed. It's essential to get at least the amount of sleep that you need to function well. Okay, the last category is if you've never taken a practice SAT, done no prep whatsoever, your test is tomorrow and you're freaking out, here's what I'd recommend doing. You can go onto Blue Book. This is College Board's platform that they administer the test through. I'd recommend taking just the first module of the reading and the first module of the math. Try to replicate the test conditions that you're going to be in as well as possible, but you can just skip through the second module. The second module is very similar to the first, it just has slightly harder questions. It's not super important that you get through a whole test, but it would be helpful if you had the time to. But at this point, the most important thing is to learn the format of the test so you know what to expect tomorrow. So going through individual topics will only help you so much. You also need to be real with yourself. Do you usually make a lot of mistakes and a low amount of sleep? And would this be better or worse than having never seen the test content before? You can decide that balance for yourself, but just remember the SAT is not make or break. It's great to be motivated to do well, and doing so can give you a ton of opportunities, but it's not worth suffering over. If you have the means to sign up for another test date after this one, that's awesome. Do that, and tomorrow will act as a nice practice run. And now that you know that you want to start prepping for it a little bit earlier, you have a ton of tools that can help you do that. Check out my resources video if you want to know how I would study for the digital SAT at this point, but even if this is your one and only shot at taking the SAT, don't worry. This test is really silly, and it's not a good way of measuring your intelligence or how successful or happy you're going to be in your life. If you screw it up tomorrow, it's not that big of a deal. It's one test and it's a few hours of your life. I guarantee in 20 years, you won't even remember your score, and you'd laugh if you knew it was something that was stressing you out right now. The biggest thing you can do right now, besides getting to know the test format a little bit and maybe doing a few hours of last minute prep, is to get in a good headspace about it. So get some sleep no matter where you are on your SAT preparation journey, and good luck tomorrow. I'm rooting for you, and you've got this no matter what. Do not even think about tying your worth to this test. Getting a good score is just the icing on the cake of your academic journey so far. It's not the entire cake. Be sure to subscribe if you want to learn more about the digital SAT. Check out the link in the description below for that promo code DePrepedly if you're interested. And thanks for watching. See you soon, and good luck!